Hello and welcome to the Daily Red, your lunchtime catch-up on all things Liverpool FC and your daily reminder that the Reds are Premier League champions for the 24-25 season. However, it doesn't appear that that's sitting well with some people, namely one Mikel Legohead Arteta, who came out with some really bizarre statements in his press conference yesterday. A press conference which was about Arsenal versus PSG and somehow became him talking about us. And he said, winning trophies is about being in the right place at the right time. Not really sure what he'd know about winning trophies. But then he said, Liverpool have won the league with less points than we had in either of the last two seasons. Now, sure, we have 82 points. Last season, Arsenal got 89, and the year before they got 84. But we have 3 games left. So if you look at Arsenal after 35 games in the last 2 seasons, in 22-23, they had 81 points after 35 games. That's less than we have now. And then last season, they had 80 points, which again is less than we have now. So I do wonder what planet that guy lives on. Is he purposely trying to gaslight Arsenal fans into thinking that what we've done this season is some sort of fluke? That they've just been really unlucky. We've heard him cry all year about the injuries, and truthfully, they've been massively overblown. When you look at the Arsenal squad and you look at the number of games that they've played, the injuries have not been nearly as big a factor as they would have you believe. 35 games in, well, William Saliba has played 33. Of the 2 games he missed, one of them was suspension and one of them he was rested for. The other defenders, so Gabriel has played 28 games. So he's missed 7. Not all of them through injury. He was rested for, I think, 2 of them. When you look at, say, our centre-backs, well, Ibu Konate's only played 28 games. So can we whinge about that? Their right back is Julian Timber. He's played 30 games this season. But again, a number of the games he missed, he was just rested for. Because they also have Ben White, who they paid £50 million for. And when he flopped as a centre-back, they moved him to right back. Now, you can definitely say the left-back situation with Calafiori being injured for so many games, it has been a factor. But we're being told that this Miles Lewis-Skelly kid is the next big thing. So you can't have it both ways. Either Lewis-Skelly's this great left-back, and if you remember, when we drew at the Emirates, one of the excuses was, well, we ended the game with Lewis-Skelly playing. And then within months, it was, well, Lewis-Skelly is the best young left-back on the planet, who's actually a midfield player. So in defense, they haven't really had much injury problems in 3 of the 4 positions. And in terms of the goalkeeper, David Raya has played every game. Now let's just compare and contrast with your Premier League champions. Alisson Becker this season has had injuries. Alisson Becker has played 25 Premier League games. So he's missed 10 games in the league. Our right back, Trent, has played 31. So he's missed 4 games through injury. Now, we have had a bit of rotation at left back, but Andy Robertson has played 31 games. Don't think Robbo's had any injuries this season. So don't think there's an issue there. The 2 centre-backs, obviously, Virgil's played every game. But again, Ibu's only played 28 games. So Ibu and Gabriel cancel each other out. Trent, not as bad an injury situation as they've had at left back. But they will bring up Tomiyasu and Tierney. We could mention the fact that Conor Bradley's missed chunks of the season. Joe Gomez has missed much of the season. Joe Gomez only played 9 games this season. 9. Joe Gomez is a very important player to us. So you could argue that, we've had about the same type of luck with injuries in defence that they've had. You move into midfield, the unnamed 31-year-old Premier League footballer, he's played 32 games. He's missed 3. He was on the bench for at least one of them. So let's say 2 of them were injuries. Declan Rice, he's played 33 games. He was suspended for one of the 2 he missed. And then there's Martin Odegaard. He played 27, so he's missed 8. Now, we've been fortunate enough in midfield. Alexis has played 34. Dom has played 33. Gravenberg has played 34. No injuries there between the 3, but Alexis did play through injury. I think he missed 1 game through injury. And we've had Curtis, who's been able to fill in. So we've had better luck in that regard. And then in attack is where they can point to some issues. Bukayo Saka's played 22 games. He missed 13. Kai Havertz was their starting number 9. Kai has missed 14 games. And then Martinelli's played 30. So he missed 5, but I think he was on the bench and didn't play in a couple because Trossard took his place for a number of weeks. But the only starter that missed, 2 of the starters did miss chunks. That's fine. And then they'll point to Gabriel Jesus, who's just a squad player for them. But we could point at Chiesa, who missed much of the first half of the season. Harvey, who missed 2 months, something like that. Like, they haven't had much worse injury luck than us. It's been worse, no doubt, but it hasn't been much worse. And when we take a look at the league table, they've been much worse than us. They're 15 points behind us. They've won 7 less games. They've scored 17 less goals. Now, they have conceded 3 less, but that's a byproduct of playing 6 defensive players, whereas we really only played 2. They just haven't been good enough. But he wants to make excuses. He wants to make loads and loads of excuses. And you get Arsenal fans coming out and saying, oh, he wasn't backed in January. Okay, but what about last summer when he spent 32 million on Mikel Moreno, he spent 41 million on Calafiori, and he spent 27 million on David Raya? He was very clearly backed there, wasn't he? Like, I would call that pretty significant backing. You did sell some players. You sold Emile Smith-Rowe, you sold Ramsdale, you sold Nketiah, you foolishly sold Mika Barit. But you still got backed, still spent money. What did we spend? 10 million, rising to 12.5. We've won the league, so it probably will rise to 12.5, even though he hasn't played a ton. But Arne Slot wasn't back last summer. Now, there was logical reason behind that. We couldn't get the 2 players in that we wanted. They decided to wait and not spend the money on players that they didn't necessarily want. That's fair enough. But it's not like Arteta only took over last summer. In the summer of 23, they spent 105 million on Declan Rice. They spent 40 million on Jurrien Timber and 65 on Kai Havertz. They don't have a ton of sales that summer. Xhaka goes, Balogun goes, and then it's small sales like Matt Turner, Alston Trusty, and Pablo Mari, who's dreadful. We obviously did spend some money that summer. Alexis, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, and Endo, but still far less than they spent. And again, we had sales that covered quite a chunk of that. Fabinho, Henderson went. Loads of players left on freeze because we were clearing off the wage bill. So that all helped. It opened up a lot of money. Bobby, Ox, Milner, and Naby, of course, all leaving in that same summer. So Arteta's way ahead in terms of spend on us as a club. We go back a year further than that. The first year that they finished in second place. And again, you're looking at enormous spend from them. We bring in Darwin, Calvin Ramsey, Ben Doak, Fabio Carvalho, and then we signed Cody in the January. So we did spend a decent amount. But again, Sadio left, Minamino left, Nico Williams left, Ben Davies left. We brought in a decent amount of money. Whereas you look at with them, their sales, Mavropanos went for 6 million. Guendouzi for 9, Leno for 8, and I think Lucas Torreira was about 7. And they spent a fortune. Marquinhos comes in, small fee, but then Fabio Vieira, Matt Turner, Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko, Trossard, Kivior, and then they buy Jorginho in the January. Like, they're so far ahead of us in terms of spend since he took in. It's incredible. But yet, he's got their fans now programmed to believe that they don't spend any money, that they don't back it. You know, you go back a year further, 21-22, we spend 83 million across the two windows with Ibu and then Diaz, but we bring in 45. So again, our net spend is small there. Whereas for them, they bring in Nuno Tavares, Sambi Lokonga, Ben White, Martin Odegaard, Aaron Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, Alston Trusty. And there's nothing in the way of sales. Joe Willock is the only sale they make. I think it was 20 million or maybe a bit more. Like, I cannot wrap my head around how he seems to have programmed their fan base into believing all these lies about injuries. They didn't have any injuries last season or the season before. They've had some this season, but it's not like the worst in the league. It's not a patch on what Spurs dealt with, or what Brighton have dealt with, or what Brentford have dealt with. But he's gaslit their fans into thinking that they've had the worst injury crisis known to mankind. We had a much worse injury crisis last season, and we still got over 80 points. They're going to struggle to hit 75 points this season. 73. They've got us, then Newcastle, and I think they lose both, and then they play Southampton. And they might need to win that Southampton game to confirm a top 5 finish. I actually think they might finish 4th. I think we'll beat them. City are in form. I think City will jump them. I think Newcastle will beat them, and I think Newcastle will jump them, because I think Toon will win this weekend as well. And in the final weekend of the season, they play Southampton, which is a game they will win.
All right, the Reds, it's Jack here, and that was a clip from one of Anfield Index's audio podcasts. If you have enjoyed the video, make sure you do like, share, and subscribe to keep up to date on all things LFC. We record around 100 audio podcasts every month, with our shows featuring match-going fans, top journalists, professional analysts, and even Liverpool legends along the way. With the Great Dane himself, Jan Molby, joining us every single week. If you want to listen to all our podcasts for free, head over to anfieldindex.com/podcasts. Our audio shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Anfield Index. Or if you prefer to listen to all our podcasts in full and without any ads, why not head over to AI Pro today to check it out now at AnfieldIndexPro.com. If you want to get involved in the great growing community of Liverpool fans, check out the Anfield Index Discord. The link is in the description. Do get involved with that from Reds around every corner of the globe. For now, Reds, hope you enjoyed this video.